Well, good morning, Mike and Arlen, our Philippine journey. Thanks so much for dropping by. You know what? Today I want to talk about your money. I don't want to talk about budgets. I don't want to talk about how much I spent. I don't want to talk about how much was my electric. None of that. All right? Because all of that is an individual choice. It's driven by your individual desires. Okay? What I am going to talk about is money and the emerging economy here, good or bad, and how it affects you, especially in a global perspective. For those of you that are here, may not really matter so much because you're here, you're already all in. But if you're planning on coming, something you may want to take into consideration. So let's talk about it.
Why'd you have to go? I guess this world's too slow for you. I think there's beauty in the gray, the cold, but you just want the gold. And there's no way I can beat it, cause I got no chance, no chance when it comes to her. She got the glitter and the fame, and I just wasn't enough.
Okay, a couple quick things, really important. We're going to go through this very fast because there's a lot of data to think about. There's a lot of things to think about. The second thing is that hey, if you find our channel informative, if you appreciate the effort we put forward, please do subscribe and hit that thumbs up. That's the best thing you can do to help us. Now, with that being said, look, this is not a budget video. We're not going to be talking about all these other different things. No, we're looking at the global impact of money, and we're looking at where the Philippines is heading. All right. Now, it can change course, obviously, but where is it heading and what's going on? You'll see a lot of blogs right now, a lot of videos talking about, oh, it's great. I'm getting so much more. I used to get 50 pesos to the dollar. Now I'm getting 55. I'm getting 56. I'm getting 57. As we speak, I look, and currently, right now, the international spot rate, which you won't get, all right, but you'll get close, is 57.54. And in 5 minutes, that'll change. But that's a high number. I don't remember ever getting 57 pesos to the dollar. But what does that mean? How does that impact you? You're thinking, oh, that's a great thing. My dollar goes further. Well, no, that's not necessarily true. First off, the Philippine Stock Exchange is having a difficult time. It is dropping. It dropped another 0.5% yesterday, Friday at closing. And then if you look at a couple of other things, inflation is moving in a direction that is not what the government wants. They thought they would be able to keep inflation down and interest rates, but they are unable to do so. Finally, I look at one other thing, and that is the trade balance between the Philippines and other countries. And that trade imbalance is getting bigger and bigger. So when you put all of those things together, you have to look at the reasons why. And how does that look at the future? I'll give you a perfect example. So we have some friends. We've known them years and years. And he retired. He's a retired engineer. He retired very well. He is financially very sound, very, very sound. And I've never known him to even consider the cost of an item. And the other day we were talking about, hey, we're going to go do this, and where they've got promos on flights, and we're going to go here and everything. And I asked him, do you and your wife want to go? And his reply was, well, it's not really in our budget right now. And, I use that word promo just so you know. Arlen won't buy anything at full retail price. I mean, if the airline tickets aren't on sale, we're not going. Our travel often revolves on what's on sale, not on what we want. Okay? Hotels are the same way. So I thought that was a little strange. But then again, this guy supports like 5 families. He's got 3 nieces and nephews, 3 or 4 that are in college that he sponsors and supports. I mean, he's got a pretty big monthly nut. And, so it's okay. I can understand. Well, when you start to look at the cost of items and what's going on, all right, take a look at some other things. First off, this is probably the lowest low season I've ever seen. And it's early. Low season doesn't start here until June officially. Yet we obviously see that there are less tourists here right now than in the normal low season, pre-season, pre-low, whatever you want to call it. The other thing is the cost of basics, and this is really important. Eggs have gone up, bread has gone up, wheat, rice has gone up. All of the staples that we don't think about because, it's only a couple pesos more. I used to buy eggs for 5 pesos each, and now they're 7. A big deal. Okay? Takes 50 of those damn pesos to make even $1. Well, it all works in there. Trust me. When you look at the idea, how does the Philippines support itself? Just like every other country, it supports itself on taxes and on what it can sell. Guess what? The Philippines is not selling as much. It's not exporting as much. The Philippines doesn't have oil to export. The Philippines doesn't have rice to export. It imports both of those items. It can't even produce enough rice for its own country. And when you look at these imbalances, you start to wonder what's going on. Now, what really happens here? How does this impact you? At some point in time, those of you that are from the US and those of you that are from the UK, you and I both know there's going to be an economic reckoning in both of those countries. I don't know that much about the Australian economy to speak about it. I don't know that much about the European economy to speak about it. But for sure, with the UK and with the US, I keep kind of abreast of all of it. And I find that expats don't. What I do find is that a lot of expats could give a rat's ass about the global picture and how it affects them going down the road. Your dollar is going to be worth a little less, actually, not more. You would think the logic would go that if your dollar is buying more pesos, then it's worth more. When in reality, the US dollar just barely makes it to the number 10 spot as the strongest currency in the world. Just barely makes it to the top 10. And with a looming housing bubble, with interest rates where they are, with all the turmoil that's going on in the US, your dollar is going to be worth even less. But the Philippine peso is worth even less than that. It's not how strong the dollar is, it's how weak the peso is getting. The peso is getting very weak, which is going to make things cost more. And with that, it slows economic growth. I can look right now. I can tell you right now, we, in the condo complex where we live, all right, on our floor, I bet you less than half the units are currently occupied. None of those that are unoccupied are creating rent money. Owners are paying out of pocket to sustain their unit, period. End of story. In the province, we have a home down in Mindanao. All of our Lynn's family is down there. We see the rising cost of everything down there, and it's having a major impact. So, getting back to you as an individual, how does this impact you? Well, if you're on a fixed budget, if your budget is fixed in a lower tier, you may find it a little bit more difficult to be where you want to be in a retired situation. Your lifestyle may have to adapt even more than what has been previously done. You cannot come here on $1,500, $2,000, even $2,300 a month and be on permanent vacation. It's just not going to work. Even though right now it's extremely favorable, you have to look at where it's going to be down the road. You have to understand that with issues with China, issues in the Middle East, issues elsewhere. I mean, the Middle East, we're talking about oil, and this country runs on oil, as do many others. Okay, without oil, you have 25-35% of the electricity created here ceases to exist. They're not all coal or hydroelectric or renewable for sure. Without being able to sell products, the trade balance changes. This causes inflation. The government isn't bringing in as much money. Now, with you will see a lot of, the OFW remittance are higher. You've got to be careful about what you read. They're higher than they were during COVID. And in relation to the value of the dollar, they're only marginally higher than they were pre-COVID. It's not a great jump. I'm not saying anything negative. I'm not saying it's bad, okay? But what I am saying is if you're not raising your own livestock, if you're not raising chickens and getting eggs and you don't have a rice field or you don't do this or you don't do that, and all of those things, it's going to cost more. I haven't seen, I'm still waiting for a condo bubble to burst. There are too many units in the Philippines at the wrong price. The price point is simply too high in comparison. You're not, normal Philippine families, standard, usual, they can't afford these places at all. And with that being said, the number of tourists willing to invest at high inflation rates, at everything else that goes on, those people decrease. I want you to just keep yourself aware of what's going on out there. I want you to recognize what's real and what's false with the reports of economic data. And then I want you to think about how the entire global outlook changes and impacts these things. They're necessary for you. We want you to have the best retirement you can, or the best vacation you can, or the best short stay that you can. But you've got to be aware that things change. Be prepared for change. Think about what's going to happen in the future and how that's going to impact your dollars. I can't think of any other way to get that out there. Look, in the comments below, let's start a discussion on how you feel the economy in the Philippines is going, and is it still that viable economic situation? And let's hear what your comments are. Otherwise, we thank you very much. We appreciate your time. We hope you have a great day. Be safe.